Parsha's bow features a discussion of the killing of the firstborn. It says that the firstborn Jews belong to God, and Rashi explains that since they were spared during the plague of the firstborn, they belong to God. They owe it to God. And he says that when a destroyer is sent to destroy, it doesn't differentiate. And the firstborn Jews would have been killed during the plague as well, but because the Almighty spared them, the firstborn now belong to the Almighty. This is somewhat perplexing. All the other plagues, there was differences made. The plague of blood. The Egyptians had blood. The Jews had water. Frogs bothered the Egyptians. They didn't bother the Jews. It's the same thing also with the other plagues. Even the plague of darkness. When a Jew walked into an Egyptian's house during the plague of darkness, the Egyptian was sitting in the dark, and a Jew had light in the very same house. So there absolutely were differentiations made. What would have been so hard to differentiate by the plague of the firstborn? Everything that's first belongs to God. You know, the first of your fruit, which is called teruma, the first of the trees, bikurim, the first of the shearings, the first of the wine press, the first of the oil press, the first of the dough, the first of the sacrifices, the first animals. All of these things belong to God and are dedicated to holy service. The firstborn Jews, therefore, are also in the same way dedicated to God. When it comes to the plague of the firstborn Egyptians were killed because they were the very best. They were the first of the Egyptians. The Jews at that point, their firstborn, now became part of God's possessions, you might say, just by the mere fact that they were indeed first. Their being first singled them out, made them special, and that is what made them dedicated to God. Lubavitcher Rebbe talks about this idea of the firstborn within each and every one of us, even if we're not a firstborn. He says, for example, we have a firstborn time in our lives. When little children, parents have to take this time, the firstborn time of a person's life, and dedicate it to God, to make sure that the children are in proper yeshivas and proper day schools, receiving proper Jewish educations, so that they grow up to be proper Jews. The rest of their time can be devoted to their own personal needs. Similarly, also, we have a firstborn part of our day, right when we wake up. That's a time which should be spent in learning, meditation, davening, doing good deeds, and the rest of the day can be engaged in pursuing what our own needs entail. So we see that this firstbornness is inherent in everything. And that firstborn part of us is given over to the Almighty. For the YouParsha, I'm Herschel Finman.